Hey guys, welcome to Meals with Maria. Today first of all, you may notice I'm in the same shirt as the other day because I have some stuff recorded for you. I don't have intros, so we had to record some intros and I'm like, I'm not changing. So it is what it is. I'm about to have a baby. Only a few things fit. Speaking of that, feeling really good. I'm 36 weeks, so anytime now. I think 37 and on is pretty much full term. So I will let you know on Instagram. You can follow Meals with Maria, and I'll definitely let you guys know when the baby comes. I'll try and do it on the community page as well. So today I have some August favorites for you. These are things that I ate growing up and absolutely remind me of August. Here in New England, we get a crop of zucchini and tomatoes that is like no other. I don't know about the rest of the world, but we kind of have a joke about zucchinis that you just don't leave your car door open because somebody's gonna put a zucchini in your car door or in your car. It's kind of weird, but anyway, I'm gonna be making a zucchini bread. This is my mom's recipe. It's one of my favorites. Actually, it is the only zucchini bread recipe that I can make. It's so moist. And then I do have a strawberry rhubarb pie, which this time of year just gives me all the feels. And then some London broil, dill potatoes, and tomato salad. And that is the quintessential for me growing up meal. My parents would go to the beach most weekends and then come home and we'd have this London broil that had been marinating for 24 hours. You slice it on the bias, I don't know what you call it. And then make a tomato salad and cook up some little mini potatoes with dill, and it reminds me of childhood, but just pure happiness, really. So I want to share that with you guys so that you can make it for your family as well. And the great thing about London broil and all these things is they're very inexpensive. I was able to find the meat that I had for $4, and that feeds the whole family. So it's steak on a budget, which is great. Before I get into the video, I did want to thank our sponsor today. The sponsor for today's video is Skillshare. I've worked with them in the past. I absolutely love this platform. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey. There are thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people just like us. There are topics including cooking, which I know you already like, art, animation, illustration, film, video, web development, and crafts. These are all things that I'm completely interested in. Most recently, I took a class called How to Frost a Cake Like a Pro, Smooth with Sharp Edges and No Crumbs, with Michelle Shutton. This class was just what I was looking for because I've always wanted to learn to frost a cake and, not have it be all clumsy. I'm like, how do we get those flat surfaces? And I finally feel like I've mastered the crumb coat. So this is definitely a recommended class for you. Skillshare's classes are curated specially for learning. That means that there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever creativity takes you. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click on the link in my description will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare so that you can start exploring your creativity today. All right, and we're on to Mom's zucchini bread. You can see how good this looks. So you just want to start off with, the recipe says 1 large zucchini, but I had 3 smaller zucchinis. It seemed like the right amount. You could probably do this with 2 as well. And you just want to grate these up. You can grate these like I am, just with a hand grater. Anyway, a food processor would probably take even less time. It would be even better and more efficient, but I was just going with the hands today. To your zucchini, add 3 eggs. And then you just want to mix them up kind of on the edge there, or you can pre-mix them before you put them into your zucchini. And then we're going to add 1 cup of oil, or you can actually substitute half of this for applesauce, and it is still delicious. It's a lot healthier. I just didn't happen to have applesauce on this given day. Oil is good, but applesauce, it's still an amazing zucchini bread, and I definitely recommend doing it that way if you have some. This mixture, you want to add 2 cups of sugar, 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. This is really key here. 3 teaspoons of vanilla. And as you're making this, just give everything a good stir as to mix everything in while you are cooking. And then I know there's some rules to mixing flour and baking powder and baking soda separately, but I'm not really good with that. I don't usually follow those instructions, and I feel like my baked goods turn out delicious. So you want to put 3 cups of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, as well as 1 teaspoon of salt in this mixture. You're more than welcome to mix it outside the bowl. I personally just kind of added everything on top here, and I'm mixing it all together. You can see that you get quite a thick consistency dough, and it's really sticky and wet, which is perfect. So you really want it to be like that. And then I have 2 Dollar Tree bread loaf pans. These are my favorite. I always like using them. They're so cheap, but you can have better ones if you want. I just find that, hey, for $1, I can make a loaf of zucchini bread, so I'm in. And then you just want to split that between the 2 loaves. You definitely want to make sure you try and get them as even as possible to make sure that they cook as evenly as possible. And then you want to cook this at 325 degrees for 1 hour. Yes, it seems like a long time, but this is a thick and heavy bread and it needs the full hour to cook. So I recommend checking it at about 45 minutes. It does take in my oven about an hour, and you do want to make sure that you put a toothpick in it and it comes out clean. This is what it looks like. I didn't get it right after we had already eaten like half of it, but you can see how moist it is and how delicious it is, and I'm just drooling thinking about it because I don't have any right now and I need to get some zucchini. So we didn't do a garden this year, and make some ASAP. And you can see that's what it should look like on the top, and also how some people like to, you know, go in without a knife and just grab little pieces of it in my household. You know, comment below if you have the same kind of vultures in your household. So the next thing I'm going to make is a strawberry rhubarb pie, and look at that bubble. That is so good. I want to make another one of these too. I'm on complete dessert kick over here. So what you're going to need for this pie is 2.5 cups of fresh rhubarb sliced, as well as 2.5 cups of fresh strawberries. And then to that, you want to add 1 cup of sugar and a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, as well as a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then mix everything together really well, and then let that stand for about 15 minutes, stirring occasionally. While the filling sits, prepare your pie crust. So you can absolutely make pie crust. I'll make sure to put my favorite food processor pie crust recipe down below. In this case, time was running short and I had a Pillsbury crust on hand, so that is what I'm using. I do have a deep dish pie plate today, but you can use a regular size, and you'll notice my crust is like just coming up to the edge, versus if you used a smaller one, your crust would probably hang over the edge. And once everything has kind of settled in there, you can see that most of like the sugar and the cornstarch has dissolved, and it kind of comes out as this gooey mixture. You just want to pour that into the bottom of the pie plate, and then dot the filling with 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter cut into pieces. I mean, what's better than just putting butter on fruit? Butter and sugar and flour, it's pretty much everything that is good in life. So just dot that over the top of the pie, and then you want to cover the top of the pie with the top of your pie crust. Now you could do a lattice if you would like to, or in my case, I'm just going to cover the whole thing. I think especially with strawberry rhubarb, I like to have the entire pie crust covering it, because I just really enjoy the crust. I feel like you get more crust if you're not slicing it up and only like uncovering some areas. And then use whatever method is your best, or that you're best at, to kind of crimp the pie crust. No one's really perfect at this. And I think that that is like the most beautiful thing about a homemade pie, is that you don't have like those little, like, you know, when you get it from the store, it's like, you can see that it's basically stamped down. You just love about a homemade pie is that there's some inconsistencies in that beautiful little crust, where it's just, you know, however you put it together, and you know that you made that seal yourself, so it's kind of the seal of approval. And then you want to take the top of the crust and brush it with some milk or cream. So I had some milk and I just brushed that over the top, and then I put a couple teaspoons of sugar over the top of that as well, and that kind of makes it like this bright golden brown, and it gives it like this crispy look, and you can see the sugar crystals. If you have some like the larger sugar crystals, go for that too, because that's even better. But I just had regular sugar, so I think that was fine. And then we're going to want to bake this for 30 minutes at 425 degrees. Then you're going to lower the heat to 350 degrees and bake for another 25 to 30 minutes. And then you'll see that the juices are thick and bubbly, and you can take it out and cool it on a rack and just serve this up with a nice heaping scoop of ice cream, and it's amazing. This will make your night. I just wanted to show you here that this recipe is from my most beloved cookbook, The Joy of Cooking. And you can see that I have like recipe cards all over the place, and you know it's a good cookbook when it really has food crusted to it. And this thing has everything. I make Christmas cookies out of it. It has the pies that I like to make, some crepes that I like to make in it, and you can just tell that it's well loved. I can just basically flip through the pages and I get to exactly what I need because they're the things that I've consistently made over the years. And my mom had this one too, so it's like just like a family thing. You have to use the Joy of Cooking for many recipes, and I'll definitely make sure to link one of these down below for you if you don't already have one. It is a great staple to keep in your house. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a marinated London broil with dill potatoes and tomato salad. And this is just quintessential summer for me. This is joy in a meal. So you can see that I found some London broil, and hey, the coloring may be a little bit different. That's okay because mostly they inject it with the coloring, and that's why it kind of like turns, at some point. It's fine. The meat is absolutely fine. It has something to do with the injection. So I'm going to marinate this. Normally I would use a Ziploc bag, but I didn't have any. I just forgot to grab some at the store. So I put it in a Rubbermaid, which was fine. You want to use 3/4 cup of oil. You can use olive oil or you can use vegetable oil. In this case, I had vegetable oil. Again, I need to go to the store because I didn't have enough olive oil either. And then using a 1/4 cup of honey, and just want to put that in there as well. 1/4 cup of soy sauce. 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. And I feel like that is like what makes this recipe so special. When you're mixing soy sauce and red wine vinegar, it doesn't seem normal, but it is absolutely delicious. I'm putting a teaspoon of ginger. If you have fresh ginger, go for it. It would be even better. Now I'm grating in 2 cloves of garlic. If you don't have fresh garlic, it would be fine with garlic powder as well, but fresh garlic is definitely going to kick it up a notch. Now you just want to mix everything together, and I want to make sure that my steak is well covered, and you can marinate this in the fridge up to 24 hours. Now for the potatoes, I'm just using this trio bag. I think I got it like on clearance, but this has 3 different colors. I'm going to boil these until they are tender. Here you're just looking for little potatoes, so it doesn't matter whether just the yellow ones or just the purple ones. Any kind will do, whatever you like. While the potatoes cook, I'm just going to make up our tomato salad. That's going to consist of about a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now you see in this, my proportions are not quite the way I'm explaining it because I kind of messed up on my first tomato salad when I made this, and I put way too much oil. That's pretty much all that I did. It's just way too much oil. So you want to make sure you do your 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, about a teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and this is going to be to taste. If it feels like a little bit too vinegary, go ahead and add a little bit more sugar. I know it seems like a lot of sugar, but it's what makes this so delicious. And then a sprinkling of salt, again, to taste. And then you're going to want to get the vine ripe best tomatoes you can. I would say if you're getting these at the grocery store, I kind of wouldn't bother with this tomato salad. This tomato salad has to be like that fresh farm stand tomato. You can see how at the top they kind of have like the little sides splitting. That's how you know that it's perfectly ripe and it's fresh as can be. And you see how red these are. I got these at a local farm stand in my area and I'm obsessed. They are just so delicious because part of what actually makes the salad so good is the juice from the tomato. So if you don't have a juicy tomato, it's really just not as good. So you can only have these when you can get fresh tomatoes from a farm stand. And so you want to cut your tomatoes into some wedges, and that's the shape that I like to go with them, and just obviously cut out the tops of the tomatoes and put that in. So 2 large tomatoes is perfect amount for my family, and I still end up eating most of it because I'm just obsessed with this tomato salad. And you just want to let this kind of marinate, and I actually put it in the fridge a little bit, so I'll just take it and make it ahead of time and then put it in the fridge while everything else cooks. So once my potatoes are cooked, I put about probably 3 tablespoons of butter into a large pan over high heat. And then you can see that I'm slicing up my larger potatoes. You want to make sure that you slice these in half so that you can actually put the flat side down, and it makes this amazing like crispy side to the potato. And then we're going to add in a sprinkling of salt, probably about a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons. Definitely be generous with your salt, as well as a garlic powder. Go ahead and add that on, and some dill. I'm using some dried dill because that's what I had. If you have fresh dill, that is going to put this at a new level. Like fresh dill is 10 times more amazing. I just didn't happen to have it at the time that I was cooking this. But you see how it's kind of like sizzling on the edges? You really want to get crispy edges, and that's why we're cooking this over high, because your potatoes at this point are already cooked and you're just crisping them up. In the meantime, I have my steak. I have my grill set to high, and I'm just going to place my London broil that's now marinated for 24 hours onto the grill for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. You can see that this is not a extremely thick cut of meat, so you don't need to cook it for too long. My meat did come out a medium rare for this amount of time, so you can cook it for longer if you'd like yours more of a medium or a medium well. You can see that my potatoes have really crisped up now, and you can see that golden brown on the parts that were the cut side down, and those are just my favorite. I always try and grab those out, which is kind of selfish of me. And here you can see our steak come off the grill, our potatoes, and the tomato salad came out of the refrigerator. So it's just lightly chilled. You can see the color in that. Everything is just really red, and this is absolutely amazing. So this is our quintessential summer meal. When you slice the London broil, you want to slice it so that you're kind of like the opposite of the way that the grain is going, and that way it'll be really easy to slice and eat. And I really hope that you make this. This is just amazing. And hey, have a glass of red wine with it too. And don't forget, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click on the link in my description box below will get a free 1-month trial to Skillshare. I know you will enjoy it. I want to thank you guys all so much for watching today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. I do videos like this. I do extreme grocery budget challenges as well as grocery hauls. So lots of cooking videos, lots of fun over here. I hope you join, and I'll see you all very soon.